Hey everybody, it's your girl Pajama with Pajama Life and our review of Thunderbolts, Andor, and Tales of the Underworld. Let's go.
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
But you have the wrong people. We have all done bad things.
Look, I've been where you are. The past doesn't go away, so you can either live with it forever, or you can do something about it.
It's pure. There is no higher calling. Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes.
We can find a way. Together.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Pajama and David. It's the Wonder Twins. And we're here other way.
No, it's this way. Yeah, I got
no,
it.
it's this one.
Well,
the
you know,
other
so-
one.
It's so funny. We're facing each other in my.
Boy,
in mine.
if you don't, all right, there we go. Okay, that was a bust.
It was.
And with me is this guy, David. Say hey to the people.
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you tonight. Got a lot of fun things to talk about. So get ready for your old World War II kind of films. We're going back to a special time in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh boy, are we, David? We're going to start off with the lone Marvel pick, but
Okay.
boy, is it something. Talk about Thunderbolts, David.
Oh, all right. Well, with Thunderbolts, my gosh, Florence Pugh is an amazing star. She really, in the Black Widow film, she kind of stole the show in some respects. No disrespect to Scarlett Johansson and the
She
others, but
did.
she shined. And this vehicle really has her, though it's an ensemble cast, which is always a strength. This particular opportunity, she really just dominated the screen. Wonderful acting. I'm a little torn on one aspect of this because I think this was a well done story, great acting. Julia Louis Dreyfus is in it, which we saw from the Disney TV shows. You've got fantastic cast, but they were kind of mocking each other. We joked about self-deprecation earlier. They kind of lowballed themselves as as the bargain basement Avengers, and there wasn't a big baddie like like Thanos, or we
What?
didn't have the big empire.
Bob?
From my perspective, no.
Bob
What you had
was
was
like
a troubled guy, a
super
bipolar guy who needed a
if
hug.
Superman was the nut.
If Superman was a nut, and I guess that's what it is, instead of like this big epic battle, the bad guy just needed a hug. And I thought on one level, I thought it was beautifully written and very impressive, and certainly it stays true to the character of Sentry from the comics, from my reading of it. But in other ways, I felt like it was this. We're not even going to try and do something larger than life. We're going to keep it more small scale. And I think that was a strength, but also a weakness in this story, if it makes sense.
Well, I think they needed this movie. I thought was the perfect kind of reset from some of the misses that they had, and it harkens back to like the original Avengers and the earlier stories before they got so grandiose and so large. That this was a smaller scale story, but I felt like they really did. I thought the underlying message of what depression feels like, it's a void, and it's a darkness that you sometimes can't escape. And people with a bipolar disorder feel like this, the grand, great, fantastic highs, and then the absolute worst of the lows. And if you've ever known anyone with this, it kind of is a interesting take on that, using this superhero milieu. That he was, a kid who was abused and tried to manage his symptoms through drugs, and then went to a study and ended up with the worst person who you could be with in that situation, with Valentina and their study. And it's also about corporate pharmaceuticals too. They dope people up, use them as test subjects, then get rid of them when they don't. There's just a lot of examples of that.
It is. Yeah,
Throughout
you're right about
history.
that. It was not an IRB approved study. Let's put
That's
it
right.
that way.
Yeah, that's for
So.
sure. That's why they had to be underground, if you get it. But I thought the different character. Now, poor Taskmaster. If you, well, she ain't
It's
have much of
okay.
a role. I could just say that.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I thought, not having known Ghost and but loving David Harbour and what he's doing
Yeah.
with Red Guardian, and Buck. I'm like, how you not in the Senate doing, or the Congress doing what you're supposed to be doing, man? You so he could do more in Congress than he could, with his metal arm. But we need a metal arm and his fine self fighting. So that's what I need to see. I need to see him doing it with the shirt off, baby.
Oh man.
But Florence Hugh is just a delight.
Yeah,
and
she really
she
is.
really can carry. She's been the best. I hate to say, the best woman carrying one of these movies that they've had. Her vulnerability that she shows, and her strength and lovingness. She loved her sister.
Right.
She loves her father, and she's so wounded that she feels like they don't pay attention to her. We know what that's like. And so I think that this is a wonderful story on found family and really coming together, even though you may not have the same kind of purpose, but you find your purpose in each other. So I think this is back to what Marvel should be doing, is telling really interesting stories, not so much on the special effects, although The Void, that was fantastic. I was like, that was amazing. And I'm sure it looks simple, but it was just incredible. So I think I didn't even see it in IMAX or 3D. I can't even imagine how interesting it looked in IMAX. So I think this is an improvement on, I hate to say Captain America, but I can't wait to see how that's going to turn out. The two stories, there's an important crossover in that. So I look forward to seeing where Marvel, I guess Fantastic Four is next. Actually, before that, people, Ironheart is next, which they have not advertised at all. And I'm going to say every week until it premieres, go see Ironheart on Disney Plus when it comes out soon. Definitely check it out. But we both agree, and our buddy Pat bailed on us, so I'm going to say, and he wanted to talk about it more than anything, but I think it's a thumbs up for both of us. Go see Thunderbolts.
You'll like the story. You will really like this story.
You'll like this story.
Marvel.
It's back to where it should be. Okay. All right. Next up, and I have to say this, the 8th episode is one of the most watched episodes, top 10 of all shows of all time. Let's take a look at Andor Season 2, Episodes 7 through 9.
If it's a war and you keep saying it is, it's not up to us what we save, what we lose. But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win.
Think about a planet like Corman. A planet of wealth, status.
If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly. Open fire!
This is Bomber 1. We are under siege. Hundreds of murdered government lays head in Bomber Plaza. Thousands more on the streets. More every minute.
What happened yesterday on Gom was unprovoked genocide. The monster who will come for us all soon enough is Emperor Palpatine.
I'm not sure I can do this.
Welcome to the rebellion.
This is Bomber 1 making an emergency broadcast on all open channels.
OMG. What are they doing to me? Oh my goodness. David, you're our resident Star Wars expert. Come on through.
What Tony Gilroy has created in Andor is some of the finest science fiction, some of the finest fiction and television viewing, and certainly some of the
It's
finest
great
Star
TV.
Wars. Yeah, it is. It's without question the best Star Wars since Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. It is incredible. The depth of characters, the world building that he has created. My gosh, the linguists, the languages. I think we were talking about that offline on Friday. The singing, the costumes, everything about this show is a level of perfection. And because of the topic, seeing the empire and the rise of fascism, it is a cautionary tale for the world and in
Mhm.
particular Western society. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And folks,
Mhm.
if you're wanting to see something what looked like 1930s Germany, in real life, there are some real things going on TV. And if you want to
Yep.
see what's
Yep.
going on 1930s Germany in a galaxy far away, Tony Gilroy has brought it to life. Oh my gosh, this was great. I got to ask you now, one of the things everybody's been watching this show, we saw we're losing characters before we get to the 0 year battle for the Battle of Yavin. Cyril Karn, my man
Oh my
Cyril.
God.
What did you think about the fact he's gone and how he left us?
Okay. So my boy Cyril, oh my gosh, did he do a turnaround and become that dude? Oh my God, he did. And my favorite scene, I had to go back a couple times, is when he choked out Dendra. I was like, oh my gosh, because I think his level of betrayal was so high
Yeah.
that, and he's no dummy. I mean, he immediately, once he saw what was up, was like, what did you do? What'd you get me into?
What did we
And
do? Yeah.
yeah, and then remember, Partagatz told her in like the first or second episode, hey, be careful. You playing a dangerous game with him. And man, I mean, I didn't think he had it in him, but oh boy, stepped up and got the truth. And then the final confrontation with Cassian. And that was just like, OMG, oh my
The
heart.
ferocity of that
Woo!
individual battle. I mean, the emotion, the
Yeah,
physicality, all of this.
I
And
mean,
you know, we had
and
a
then
team.
you were like, and when he hit him with the, who are you?
Who
And
are
that
you?
the
Oh,
devastation on
yeah,
his face. It was like, oh my God, he just laid him out. And then he got laid out. But
right.
I think that seeing and then let's talk about some conspiracy theories that have been running around on the net. But I thought Bix did the right thing 100%, because sometimes when we're at our lowest, we don't know how to go on. We'll latch on to something and say, oh, you're the reason I'm doing this. and laying that responsibility of guilt on somebody else, that they're responsible for your actions. So I thought Bix did the right thing and say, no, I can't be the reason that you're doing this. And I think there's a reason why, but we'll get to that in a second. But I really enjoyed also the conversation between Luthen and Mon Mothma. And he was just trying to help her and just say, look, I know you mad, but don't get on that shuttle with them. Because that made me question, does Bail Organa have, did he have an ulterior motive? Was he trying to get rid of Mon Mothma?
No,
What you
no, no,
think?
no.
I
I
didn't
don't
think
think
so, but
so.
the way
I
they
can't
played
believe that.
it was kind of either way. But let's get into this conspiracy theories.
All right, let's talk.
Okay. Now, David doesn't like this one, but one that's on the net is that Poe Dameron is Bix and Andor's son. I love it. I love it. I hope it's right. I don't care if they change canon. That makes all the sense in the world to me. It would be a beautiful asterisk to the story that Poe is his son. The timeline seems to fit. I love it. I love it. I want all of it. David, what say you?
What I say is, and I was one of the people who brought this to your attention as a plausible story, knowing the backstory, and that we've already seen how Tony Gilroy, not taking anything away from his story, was able to kind of keep everything in the canon with the
Right,
Star Wars Rebels cartoon and the
right.
things we'd been hearing about Gorman before, etc. I think it would be a travesty in
Ah,
this galaxy
ah,
where Gilroy has shown the
come on.
size of it and the fact that there's all kinds of people and you've got lower ranked people who are doing some really incredibly bad things. We don't have to see Vader and the Emperor every minute. We don't have to see Obi-Wan and Luke and
Although
we
we did get a glimpse of a possible Jedi, or at least a force
well,
sensitive
Fence,
person.
a force healer, yes, we got her. That was the most of the force we've seen in these in a tangible way. Sans the kyber crystal that Luthen had loaned Cassian. I'm against it, and I'll tell you something else. As I
Ah,
watch this, and you hear the language, make it worth it, and all the sacrifice and what everybody's doing, the decisions that Kathleen Kennedy, that J.J. Abrams, that all of these people who came and they and we were excited. They did some good things in terms of the more realistic special effects, but the story and the final, those three sequel films, they have taken the struggle and the triumph that we saw in in the original trilogy, and it's even more real watching what Mon Mothma has
yeah.
sacrificed, with Cassian and Bix and all these people, even Cyril in his
Oh yeah.
situation, to see that in 35 years that the first order is there, that we see the other Disney shows show this the new republic in such an incompetent light. It breaks your heart, and it says that it's really all for naught. Now granted,
No, I
in
don't think it's
2020,
all for naught. I
oh, I do.
disagree.
It
I
makes it
disagree. I
feel
think in
so
war,
terror it
I
nothing.
think in war you have ups and you have downs. And at some point you're up, but then at some point there's that nadir and then you're down.
Yeah.
And so you need that valley in order to rise up and see the light. And I think without that, the first order, it makes sense to me that it wasn't done because there were still, they didn't really get rid of all of the um of the empire. They just kind of stopped a big part of it, but they didn't eliminate the infrastructure of the empire. And so that's what caused the First Order to rise again. You might see that in recent things going on. They didn't get rid of the infrastructure that's away. It just was given time to bubble up and rise even further. So I enjoy that. Okay, let's talk about what's a theory out there that you like.
Well, I haven't heard any more. I obviously that the Poe Dameron is, I think, the big one that's out there that makes you there's some logic, because we know that Poe Dameron's character was from Yavin.
Oh, come
So
on, man. You killing me. That's gotta be it. That has got
I
to
hope
be
it's not.
it.
I hope
That
it's
is got
not.
to be it. I love it. Now,
I'd
one
much
thing.
rather Poe Dameron. It'd make a lot more sense if Poe Dameron's parents were some of them idiots that Diego Luta's Cassian ran into in the first batch
Oh
of
God,
these episodes.
no.
Those
Oh my
morons. Yeah,
God,
yeah, yeah.
no.
That's the lineage that is worthy of the sequels and the
Oh
resistance and all
no,
that
it's
stuff,
not.
man. Oh yeah,
That
it is.
makes sense, boo.
No, no.
But I will say one thing. I
Trash.
just saw a
Sequels are trash. They're
Oh,
trash.
me, I love the sequels. So I just saw there's a great video of Tony Gilroy talking about what he was doing
Mm-hmm.
in this series and how he drew from, he's a armchair historian,
Yeah.
and how he drew from, like you always say, the French Resistance and some of the other revolutions that have gone on. So that has played an important part in him being able to show that. And that's something he said he's always wanted to do. So I think that this is just a beautiful um uh illumination
Oh yeah.
of his thoughts on history and warning us about what can happen if we're not careful.
Amen.
And so that's really great. Hey, Tim Windsor, our longtime
Tim.
fan out
All right,
there.
man.
Good to see you, man. And let's go and talk, because my voice is about to give out.
Bless your heart. Yeah.
Got one more. Because it was what? Star Wars Day and what? Star Wars week. We just saying it was a whole week. And I got my Mason the Purple Saber shirt. And
Oh.
let's take a look at the latest installation of the Tales of the Underground. Let's take a peek.
Never can be too cautious with strangers out here. Then again, you're no stranger, Lady Ventress.
What's the situation?
He was your best friend. Things have changed.
You took everything from me.
Who are you?
I was Count Dooku's lead assassin.
You're gonna pay for what you did. This revenge, I hope it was worth it.
It will be.
So good. David, what you think?
I really, of the Tales series that we've seen from Disney Plus, I have to say this one might be my absolute favorite. And
Really?
of these, yeah, they really have been.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I think Asajj Ventress is it's an incredible character that
it
started
sure
from
is.
the Sarkovskys comics, brought to life. And I really I applaud Dave Filoni for taking these Clone Wars characters and giving them so much depth. And we've seen the arc of her character go from a
Yeah.
villain and a stand-in for just some fighting, based on some wonderful uh, original artwork, really and truly, on what maybe Darth Maul might have looked like at one time. And so then
Okay.
you bring this to life. And then Cad Bane, which I thought was a very interesting character. Here's where, Dave Filoni and those folks really just, they lean heavy into the old West genre, with
Yeah.
obviously his
Yeah.
hat and whatnot, but definitely the high noon aspect. But I thought that was neat. I mean, the depth, but the you can kind of see the just the evil in the heart of Cad Bane, how he, you know, and he had a choice how he could have lived and how he went, and to even where, you know, he wound up killing a friend and really hurting, traumatizing his own son in that. So I thought that was powerful. While Ventress has got an arc of redemption, which I think is incredibly shocking here too. But I just think it's beautifully done, and I really applaud how they've taken the Clone Wars and made it such a strong and powerful story
Yeah.
in its own. I mean, I don't, you know, I'm not happy about continuing on with the characters past A New Hope that we're seeing into the sequel era, my own thing, but I do think they're really well done. And in the animated world, they could just keep doing a lot of stuff for a long, long time, keeping those day by day between Clone Wars and A New Hope going. So this is great stuff.
I thought this was the weaker of the three,
Really?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
How would you rank them? How would you rank them?
I think Tales of the Jedi, then the just one, two, three.
Okay. Okay.
Because I think the Cad Bane story was maybe a little weak for me. And I think it's because I'm not as familiar with those properties.
Yeah.
And so when you're coming in fresh, they're good stories on their own. I mean, so this one not being my favorite doesn't mean it's not excellent.
Right.
It's just not as good
The
as the other
connection.
two.
Yeah.
Um, and but that's like saying, you know, Reese's isn't as good as Snickers. I mean, you know, it's just a personal kind of thing. They're
Yeah.
both great.
Yeah.
Um, but I really enjoyed the Asajj Ventress. I mean, since I because I started Clone Wars late and Bad Batch, I think, and then I went back and caught some of the episodes. And I think her character is so original too. And such a great arc in the storytelling that really kind of was the pulled it up for me.
Mhm.
And that was probably the strongest of the stories, and being and having them meet that former colonel or whatever he was from the empire, and having that interaction, and telling him to, you know, it's time to do something different, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed when he said it's hard to let go.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the realest kind of statements about somebody holding on to the past, even though it's detrimental to them. And
Yeah.
because it's hard to let go of the old glory, but you got to move on to the new to and he has a young child. So I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, that you know, colonizers coming in and taking stuff, and you know, just assuming because the people there don't look like them that they have a right to just take whatever. I thought that was a nice kind of message too, is that no, you need to work with them. um and I think that's very much needed today. So it was it maybe not one of my favorites, but still powerful, great storytelling, great animation from the team. Now I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, what tales could they do next? I mean, you got the three major. What would you think the next tale would be?
Well, I think I would probably maybe like a kind of an offshoot of Tales of the Underworld to Tales of the Smugglers. And there could be you could
Hmm.
do a Han Solo and or a Lando. You could do. I love the characters. I know Solo was not a movie that was as well received in some respects for things, and there were certainly issues. But man, I love Woody Harrelson's uh, uh, Beckett, and I
Uh-huh.
loved Val, and I loved those characters. that team of
Yeah.
criminals, and I could see that. I could see some going off, maybe getting uh, Mr. Glover there to come back and do some voice work as Lando. I think that would be a blast.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is really a character that is undervalued in Star Wars and undermined. I mean, I mean, just not
Right.
utilized
Right.
to the extent that some of the other heroes. I think you're gonna have some really fun Lando adventures in this. And again, I think Rio, Val, and Beckett would be just a wonderful group of stories. Talon Card, maybe if you wanted to go to some of the legends, but
Uh-huh.
Tales of the Scoundrels, I think would be one that I would think.
Uh,
And of course, you could have more Tales of the Rebellion, Wedge Antilles, or what about Biggs Darklighter and how
yeah.
he left the Rand Ecliptic and was able to
Woo, you
get to
got some
connect with
deep
a
cuts going.
guy. Oh, I got the deep cuts. Yeah, but we saw a little bit about Wedge in the Rebels cartoon. So there's some things that could be
Right.
there in those pieces, and they could even go do some little things, tales of the old Republic and stuff that they had tried to do before the Acolyte. There could be
Yeah.
some really positive things there.
Yeah.
That everybody, it'd be new for everyone. If
Right.
new stuff is done well, I contend that it will be embraced by people because you won't have you, me, and all these other people like, that's not how Luke would be, and
Yeah.
that's not what be. You
Right.
could, well, we don't know. This is a new character, and let's just see
Yeah.
what we can do. Tony Gilroy, and to a lesser extent, but still but to an extent, Dave Filoni have created characters of depth
Yeah.
and humanity, even if they're robots or aliens, that we can rally around, and that certainly speaks to the female characters. The all of the characters that Tony Gilroy created are strong, good. You have villains and heroes
Yeah.
with the actresses that are in this show,
Yeah.
and so he set the bar. Now it's up to other writers to try to emulate the level of quality. Don't just
Right.
duplicate what he did,
Right.
but say, here's the seriousness, here's the quality that he brought,
Mm-hmm.
and do that. Go forth and give us that Star Wars in films, in TV, in animated serials. And we're going to have a lot of fun in Disney. Disney can make a lot of money,
Yeah.
barring some unexpected things with the tariffs.
Well, I hope they do a story. I don't know, but I want to see a story with R2D2, but you can actually understand R2D2.
Oh, that would be kind of funny. I
And
like
so
that.
that would be really cool to see something like that.
Well,
And I don't know. I want to see, maybe it's a Tales of the Droids, and they
oh, I
talk
love
about
that.
different droid stories.
Well, here's
And
one that you would love. Not to interrupt you here, but here's one that I think you would really love. And honestly, I there might be a little bit of too much parallel. Pat and I had said that when we were talking about Kenobi with Ventress. But you know what? Riva. Let's see something more about
you
her
know
and
that you
that
got it
character.
for me. I'm 100% for that.
I know you are. I know you are. And I think
100%
that
Reva.
and many times characters that, and again, I think there were some issues that we talked offline.
Yeah.
I have some concerns about Kenobi, but I think Riva as a character, I think it would be fascinating to see her. I thought they missed an opportunity to not talk about her with the Tales of the Empire, since she was an
Right.
inquisitor and all. But I'd love to see what did she do the day after she left, and
Right.
and made the
How did her
decision.
story continue
What's
on?
going on with that arc? Where is
Yeah.
she? I think that would there's certainly at least the animated shorts like these. I think her character certainly is
Yeah.
worthy of at least that, probably more. But I'd love to see a little bit more. Just give her something more to do, and let's honor that character and see. It's a big universe. Let's see what
Yeah.
else you can do out there.
It's a ton, and we're here for it. Now, before my voice completely leaves, next week we will watch the finale of Andor. And I'm going to shorten the show. We were going to do 3 things, but that's going to be too big for us to not give it due justice. So We're going to do Tales. I'm sorry, Andor. And then this looks exciting new show. I think it's Apple Plus, Duster.
Okay.
And so I can't wait to see that. Looks like everything. So come back next week. David, say goodnight to the people.
Everybody, thanks for joining us. We hope you're enjoying these films. A lot of good stuff out there to put a smile on your face in the theater, like Thunderbolts, on TV, at home streaming with Andor. May the force be with you, and come back and join us next week as we get ready for that Battle of Yavin and the destruction of the Death Star following soon thereafter. We'll see you next week.
We might have to throw Andor the movie. I mean, Rogue One, the movie back after Andor, just to kind of see now
how it all connects.
How
I
it
agree.
all
That'd
connects.
be a blast.
We might have to do that. I don't know. All right, people. We'll see you next time. Take care. He says, and